The work begins before sunrise. In Gaza City's Al-Tufa neighborhood, heavy excavators stand still for a moment, their arms and steel claws raised like silhouettes against the early light. They are positioned carefully, aligned to begin digging in a district that has seen destruction, combat, displacement, and silence. Here, crews have been ordered to search for the bodies of Israeli hostages, believed to have been buried beneath layers of collapsed buildings and compacted soil. This is a scene that captures the ongoing weight of a conflict long past the point where ceasefires, declarations, and statements alone can resolve what remains undone. Families wait on both sides of a border that still exists in memory even when its crossings are blocked. In Gaza, the war's imprint is not only structural but deeply human. Entire neighborhoods carry stories that are buried and unburied over and over again. The excavators move into place. One is lifted down from the back of a flatbed truck, its tracks gliding heavily onto the ground. A driver inside adjusts levers, preparing for the precise work ahead. The machines are powerful, but they must move carefully. Beneath the rubble may be cavities, tunnels, or unexploded remnants from past bombardments. And beneath the ground, there may be what many here refer to quietly, human remains, bodies of hostages taken during the conflict. Standing nearby are teams tasked with supervising the process. Members of the International Committee of the Red Cross coordinate access, documentation, and the conditions of the dig. Their role is not political, but humanitarian, to help return the missing to their families. Alongside them, armed members of Hamas maintain a perimeter. They oversee the area, monitor onlookers, and enforce control in a landscape where authority is both contested and fragile. The atmosphere is tense, controlled, and unusually quiet. The sound of engines idling breaks the stillness. Conversations are short and functional. Each movement matters. From a distance, the scene looks like a construction site. Up close, every detail makes clear that this is something else entirely, a recovery operation, a search for bodies. For some involved, this is part of ensuring that terms agreed to in negotiations are upheld. For others, this is about dignity in death, regardless of the living politics that remain unresolved. The excavators begin to dig. Their metal arms descend into the earth. Dust rises. Chunks of concrete, twisted metal rods, and collapsed masonry emerge from below. The digging proceeds in slow, deliberate motions, the machine's operators stopping frequently to reassess the ground. The soil beneath Gaza City is layered, homes built on top of homes, paths over older paths, memories over memories. It is impossible to excavate without unearthing something ancient or recent, personal or historical. The Red Cross personnel stand close enough to supervise, but far enough to remain safe if the ground shifts or collapses. Hamas militants stand nearby, their faces mostly unreadable. One holds a small booklet, a list, a map, a record, or perhaps instructions for the day's operation. The presence of armed men around humanitarian workers underscores a reality present throughout Gaza. Almost every civilian task has some connection to the politics of war. As the digging continues, attention shifts. A convoy prepares to move to a second location further south in Khan Yunis. Reports indicate that additional bodies of Israeli hostages may be buried there as well. The process repeats, machines transported on trucks, teams coordinating oversight, anticipation mixed with uncertainty. In Khan Yunis, the destruction stretches widely. Many buildings here have been reduced to open shells, their roofs collapsed inward, walls missing, rooms exposed to daylight. The excavator begins again to lower its arm into the unstable ground, carefully removing layers of debris. The earth is dry and dark. The dust clouds linger in the air before settling slowly across the remaining structures. These operations are not only technical but emotional. They are part of a larger exchange and negotiation, an agreement that remains fragile. Hostages were taken, bodies remain missing. Families in Israel continue to ask for accountability and closure. Families in Gaza ask for the names of those buried beneath collapsed homes and public buildings to be known, acknowledged, and remembered as well. The war that led to these scenes reshaped daily life across Gaza. It displaced neighborhoods, altered access to food, water, and medicine, and left thousands grieving. The search for bodies is only one of the many processes now underway: clearing rubble, restoring water, trying to reopen schools, collecting personal belongings from ruins. But this search stands out because of what it demands: a moment of cooperation between those who once exchanged fire. In Gaza City, the excavator continues to break into the ground. The bucket scoops up soil mixed with broken stone, the sound echoing across the neighborhood. Each scoop is examined. The workers use gestures rather than words. Stop, lower, shift, inspect. It is slow work, made slower because the stakes are human. Nearby, vehicles belonging to humanitarian coordinators remain parked. Their presence marks the operation as monitored, structured, and intended for recovery, not political leverage. Still, trust remains limited. Each side watches the other closely. The fragile cooperation that allows this work to take place could break under the slightest misunderstanding. In Khan Yunis, the camera pulls back to show the scale of the destruction. Entire blocks appear flattened. A lone excavator moves between the remains of buildings that once held families, businesses, daily routines. Now, the earth is being opened not to build something new, but to retrieve what was lost. Each uncovered fragment of fabric, bone, or metal may hold a story that someone has been waiting months to hear. The people present are not the families of the missing. Most of them are far away, in Israel, in displacement camps in Gaza or in the West Bank. Their grief travels through messages, announcements, and the uncertain hope that comes before confirmation. For them, this work is invisible except for the updates that emerge slowly, deliberately, and sometimes painfully. The operation reflects a broader reality. The war has not ended simply because the sound of artillery has grown faint. It continues in the unresolved absence of those who have not returned. It continues in negotiations, in tense meetings, in silent expectations that justice, memory, and closure may one day align. Back in Al-Tufar, the excavator operator pauses. The arm withdraws, the engine idles. Supervisors move forward to inspect what has emerged. The Red Cross personnel step closer, documenting carefully. The militants stand at a distance, forming a perimeter. No words are spoken for several moments. In these searches, silence often says more than explanation could. The camera shifts across the scene once again. Human beings, machines, soil, and loss. And then the digging resumes. Hours pass in Gaza City, in Khan Yunis. The operations continue. The day moves forward, but the story remains suspended. Between absence and discovery, between conflict and cooperation, between what is known and what remains buried beneath the ground. These scenes do not offer resolution. They do not resolve the war or its political consequences. They do not return what has been lost, not in the way families hope for, but they mark a step toward confronting the aftermath, the part of war that is not fought with weapons, but with the slow, steady work of acknowledging the dead. The earth holds many stories. Today, machines and hands work together to uncover one of them. And when the search ends and the ground grows still again, the silence that follows does not mean closure, only that the work will continue somewhere else tomorrow.